Hello and welcome to the Katie's Arms, which I was just about on time for, so I'm quite proud of myself for that. And I'm hoping our Wi-Fi is going to work. Just a quick wave for people who are going to let me know, yes, whether they can hear me or not. Thank you for that. And it is only 2 in the afternoon where I am, but I thought, given this was a Katie's Arms, it was only reasonable, and if not required, that I start drinking with the rest of you. I'm not sure what that says about the rest of my afternoon. There have also been comments about this top and the fact that maybe I had a boob job. Thank you very much for that thought. I haven't. It's just that this top, I'm not sure what's happened. Either I've got bigger, the top's got smaller, or it's just loads more squishy than I remember. Because I'm kind of like, I think it's just a squished effect. So just so you all know that there's nothing else going on there. Not that I really, I suppose, have to explain myself, do I, in that way? And also someone earlier said to me on hair, can I put more clothes on, please? So just to that individual, who's sort of a bitter old person, I should imagine, if you wouldn't mind awfully just fucking off, that would be great. And I say that because I'll wear what the bloody hell I like. Or nothing if I so choose. I'll turn up naked on the Katie's Arms or my Instagram or anywhere, or the high street actually, such as it was, if I so choose. And actually, it's not for you to tell me anything about what I want to wear or don't wear, because you've got a choice, haven't you? You could bugger off, and I'd really rather appreciate it if you did. Something else you should probably know, and it's the reason you're also single and mostly only have sex with yourself, is that women typically at a certain age, mine, don't really dress for any other bugger. We just do it depending on how we feel. So if we're feeling a bit shit, we might dress a bit shit. If we're feeling a bit hot, we might not have many clothes on. But I can tell you for certain, it's not really done for anyone else's pleasure, because we're quite over that. Unless we choose not to be over that, in which case we'll be wearing black lace and nothing else and nipple tassels. Right, so I thought today we would do some questions. And you guys have been kind enough to submit those in the hope as well that I do actually answer some questions. As we all know, I typically get started at the Katie's Arms, which is supposed to be your pub, and us sat in the pub having drinks together, generally laughing at the world, or me and the world, which is like being in the pub with me, which is why I'm brilliant to go to a pub with. So that's what happens. But then typically I just biffle baffle on for a whole half hour, and everyone's like, well, you didn't answer shit all. And that's also very true. But, you know, suck that up as well, frankly. I've got lots to say. This is like therapy. So this is what we do at Katie's Arms. We just chitty the chit-chat, and people write comments on here, which I occasionally read out. Most of them involve naughty things and rude things, so I try and ignore those. And some people are just genuinely kind, which is also very great. Other people want to see bits of me that I'm really not going to show them. I should also point out at the moment there is a kid outside repeatedly shouting the same kid's name. If he continues to do that throughout all of Katie's Arms, there is going to have to be a moment where we pause here. We'll keep going. I will have to disappear and just tell that child to shut up. So I don't know what that would be in the language where I am, but that is going to also have to happen because I can hear it in the background, and I'm one of those people that once I dial in on something, I have to just sort out the issue. So that could happen. If you are the little boy shouting another boy's name, quit it, or I'm going to come around there and twat you one. Mustn't threaten people on social media. So let's go quickly to questions before I lose my... Oh, I did just want to tell you a quick funny story. So I was in the supermarket. Shall I put my drink down for a moment? No, drink it. Okay, hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. I was in the supermarket, right, and I had to put on my little mask to go in there, and that's fine because at no point am I going to have some sort of silly row with super people who are working for no money an hour about a mask or not. I'm just going to put it on my face so I can get into the supermarket, and I don't want to get anybody into trouble. So I'm now in the supermarket and I want to buy moisturiser because, as you can see, I'm drying out faster than a bloody, nun in a convent, and my skin's about to fall off. Many people have comments about my skin anyway. So I go to the moisturiser aisle. I don't understand anything or what I'm purchasing, but I see something and it appears that it has a rose on it, right? So I think, I know, I'll just smell it just to check that it doesn't smell like, you know, old ladies or like slightly smell of wee or something, or any of the things you might not want to smell of. What would those be? I don't know. So I pulled down my mask, which I kind of had off anyway, and I got the moisturiser and I opened it kind of surreptitiously because I don't want to be like weird old lady in aisle, whatever, smelling stuff. And I squidged it. And as I squidged it to smell it, it kind of came out and went across my face. At which point I had to try and clear that up and get my mask back on and not show the staff that I had covered my face in the moisturiser that I hadn't bought yet because I'd taken my mask off. That is just sort of standard 10 minutes in my life. And I stand there thinking, what the shit? I watched someone earlier sneeze. I don't know what the etiquette is, right? You guys might know on what happened to your short hair. Oh, we could add that to the list, but I haven't brought my pen. If you remind me later, we'll try. Yes, that does sort of happen to me a lot. I don't know what the etiquette is for sneezing. I've seen people in masks sneeze achoo, in the mask, which is clearly disgusting because then you're breathing it in. I've seen people take their masks off to sneeze. That makes me laugh as well because it's like, achoo, get COVID now, I'll put my mask back on. I mean, obviously it's all a load of old shit anyway. Right, questions. The hair bit, if I can remember, will come with the epilepsy bit. We'll see what happens. So someone was asking, because they're just recently new to this. I mean, that is unbelievable in itself, is it not? I've been around for a full, how many years is it? Like 16 years. I've been going off in front of this nation and many others, and you've only just found me, which is inexplicable. And then secondly, like, who the hell are you, right? And this happened to me quite recently. I was doing stand-up at a venue in Denver in Colorado. So I had 300 people. We sold out kind of twice over. We had a wait list and we'd added seats that we weren't allowed, all the rest of it. And I was going through my we were just having the best time. And I certainly was, sod everyone else. And then sort of at the end, we did some bits and forwards and people were asking things. Someone put their hand up and went, who are you? So there is that, right? There is this sort of missing bit between people that have just found me and people that have kind of grown up with me for 16 years or people that just hate me anyway, whatever. So the pre-seed version of who I am is, I mean, biggest bitch in Britain, right? Most hated woman, most hunted woman, most banned woman. I think I've got that title back, right? Having been banned from a few more things subsequently. So all those things are like big monster. And then if there's an evil villain, that was definitely me. I actually started out being sponsored through university by the Intelligence Corps, going to the Royal Military Academy and passing out as an officer in the British Army with the Intelligence Corps. And I signed up. And I don't know if any of you know Sandhurst. Let's say it's not the easiest course to pass through. It's not like a standard university course. You will never be as cold, dark, lonely, hungry, hurt in your life. Well, actually, I've probably surpassed that now, but in your early life, it will never hurt as much as Sandhurst hurts. Anyway, came out of there and I signed up for 35 years. So I promised the gentleman who gave me a 35-year regular commission that I would serve my country for 35 years. And they don't hand out many of those, or certainly they didn't back in the day. They probably don't hand them out at all now, right? 35 years, a contract for 35 years. But I signed it, I meant it, I told them I'd be the first female general. Long and the short is, I'm also, and was also, epileptic. I believe, I am still the only person on the planet, the only epileptic ever to make it through a Royal Military Academy training and to become an army officer. But I had to be medically discharged, and my joke to cover the fact that it's the most awful thing in my life is that I say that an epileptic with a semi-automatic weapon might not be my best idea. Someone's saying, answer questions, please. This was a question. For God's sake, keep up. So I had to leave the military, went into management consulting, worked with all military men in a company, and I was the only female, and it's still the language I understand. So you put me near military, boys or girls, it's still to me like comfy shoes or comfy clothes. Like I really, that's where I was always supposed to be. It just so happens that I wasn't allowed to stay. And that will always be the thing, and I think it explains a lot of me now. So, switch up into management consultancy, businesses, helping put military principles, like basically if you're a business and you want to get shit done, you bring us in as a team at the consultancy I work for, and we got shit done. And we really got stuff done at a high level. So I was then in Madison, on Madison Avenue. I lived in the East Village. I was in New York for 6, 7, 8 years maybe. And, high levels in Barclays, in Reuters, and Diageo, and all big businesses. And I was this kind of scary woman that came along and got shit done. I came back to the UK and I needed to change things up massively. I had 2 children under the age of, 1.5. My husband just left me for the secretary, which I don't have any issues with that now. At the time it was really hard. And so I was a single mother of 2 under 2. And in fact, I had to come home from the maternity ward alone because my husband left me before I even got out of the hospital with my second daughter. So, no one does, as people are just saying, we didn't know this stuff. I know. I guess this is one of the weird things, right? I have all this stuff, but we all have all this stuff. All of us have all this stuff. I'm just like a regular everyone else, right? We all have all this stuff. But this is all the truths of me I never ever shared because I never wanted sympathy. I never wanted people to say, well, she's playing the victim. And I still hold all the opinions I held, even though all of this has gone on in my life. And even though everyone was calling me a monster and I know I'm not. So that's been a weirdness, right? Anyway, I can share it now, it's fine, it's whatever. And so I came home from the hospital alone with 2 children. And I knew I had to change things up, and I applied to be on The Apprentice. And that's when I switched, I guess, from being military business to media. And I didn't know at the time. I genuinely went on that show thinking, change of scene, find a way to provide for the children. I'll get kicked out near the middle and come out and people will think, oh, she was really kind of fun and she kind of knew what she was doing and she didn't take any shit. I thought that would just be me. But I got all the way to the end and then fired Lord Sugar. And how that actually went down is obviously nothing like the final version they made me reshoot. It was just me saying, I'm really sorry. I'm not desperate enough for this position. There's other people more desperate than me. Thank you for the opportunity. And he was dead sweet and he was like, thank you for being honest. Thank you for saying that. We'll see you later. And then I got called back in and we had to make it about childcare or something. So that was The Apprentice, and that kicked off the whole entering public life, where I've been, I guess, for 16, 17 years now. And I had to reinvent myself again. I became a columnist for The Sun and then Daily Mail and then eventually kind of the best known, I guess, best paid, yes, female in the media in the UK. And that brings with it lots of competition, lots of jealousy, lots of people who don't want you there. So I had my radio show, which is still my second love after the military, and I miss. It's the one thing, if I get one thing back from all the things that have been taken, it wouldn't be my family home, and it wouldn't be the highest paid jobs or my column at the Mail or whatever. It would just be that radio show, and for no money really. I'd do it just and ask people to like support if they wanted. Yeah, so that's also my heart, because people would ring me from their kitchen, like a bit like this is something near what I'm trying to get to, right? And people would ring me from their kitchen in their pajamas. Ooh, gets me upset. Okay, wait. So, people would ring from their kitchen because they had no other way of being heard. And that's why I'm very, very cross with myself for being fired from the radio, because I took away people's opportunity to be able to have their voices heard. And I remain cross with myself for that now, because it was a unique thing in the heart of London. And I see all these other pretenders doing what they're told to do and saying what they're told to say, not at all reflecting ordinary people like you and me. And I know that let people down in a way that I don't reconcile with at all. So that was radio. And I remember walking in to be fired. I tweeted about terrorism in the UK, which saying I wanted it over, a final solution to that. And of course that was twisted to be anti-Semitic. I'm like, spend more time in Israel partly than anywhere else. Anyway, no excuses. I gave them an open goal. And if you're someone like me, you can't give people that want to silence you an open goal. So I own all of that as well. And I remember walking in, and as I walked in to the studios, this lady grabbed me and she goes, I love you, I love what you do, I love your show. And actually, we're still friends now. Like, she sends me little messages when the next thing happens to me just to keep me going. And she's a Jewish lady. And so the irony is that I walked in to be fired by my boss and his sidekick. He'd brought legal help, obviously. But a Jewish lady in the foyer had said that she loved the show, but I was being fired for anti-Semitic tweets, which weren't. They were just a terror in the UK. No excuses, I was fired. So I left that, and that's always been my sadness, is losing that. But the thing about my mainstream media stuff, right, all the gigs, people say she's moved into obscurity, she's a no one, she's nothing. I'm also very good with that. I'm good with being a no one and nothing and not being in the mainstream media apart from radio. Because I would never do what I was told. I would never not write something. I would never not say something. And I spent my time with Mail Online just being on the road, Calais, Italy, travelling with migrants from the coast of Libya, living in the jungle, sleeping on Skid Row, sleeping on the white farms of South Africa where they are being hunted from their land. I would never not tell the truth as I saw it. And it became impossible for my editors to keep me on. I had to be removed, and I was removed at the highest levels. I would get these warnings from friends inside places like The Guardian, and they'd say, at the editors' meeting this morning, they agreed it's you they're going after. So I would have people tell me that I was being removed, so I knew. And this was a long time before cancel culture, right? But even with all that, I still am fine with it. All the hate, all the endless attacks, the taking of my jobs, my family home through litigation, which we can talk about another time. The attacks on, a couple of people came to chop my head off. They're now in prison. There's a play, if you Google, The Assassination of Katie Hopkins. It was commissioned partly by the British government, funding, your money actually. That was after my actual assassination attempt. There was a play called The Assassination of Katie Hopkins, and those billboards went up around the country, which is a hard thing to explain to little children and elderly parents. No sympathy. You put yourself out there, right? You've got to suck all of this up. I suppose the difference is there's a massive distance between, and this is where maybe we are starting to see this, right? There was a massive distance always between what people thought they knew of me and who I am. And I never sought to try and fill that distance. And maybe I am a little bit now. I don't think I'm actively trying to fill the distance. I'm just sharing stuff I wouldn't have shared whilst I was in mainstream. But the me that I knew was very different to the me that everyone was hating. And in a way, I guess that's one of the reasons it was okay and has been okay in a process of dealing with the hate at very, very, life-ending levels, in every sense. There's definitely a sense when they're coming for your money. I don't have a bank account now. I don't have PayPal. I don't have a home. I can't own anything because they come and take it, come for your head. But I feel like, the thing that's important about that is if you know yourself, even though they hate this thing, they still don't know that you're just being true to everything you signed up for and promised to do for 35 years. And I think that's the truth of what I do and why I do what I do, is because I'm still serving a contract that I signed to fight for the country, even though the army wouldn't let me stay. And if they'd let me come back tomorrow, maybe I could do army radio, be like, come back to this, So people say, the second question, I know, right? We just did 20 minutes on one question, shit me. It was kind of a lot of bio, but that's why I've ended up where I am. I really, really believe that our paths, right, in life are already set. So I believe that your path is set. And the only thing that happens in life is that you wander from your path, right? So you imagine life says, I must have this, I must have a sensible job, I must have a mortgage, I must be married, I must have 2 children, and I must have a nice car, and I must have a very fast Wi-Fi, and I must have shit this and shit that and whatever, right? And we go, right, that's what I must have. The truth is, your path is set, right? I believe this. You don't need to believe shit, but this is where I go. And the more you throw yourself to it, right, the more your true path reveals itself. So anytime you feel yourself like trying to control, like as if you're on a bike, anytime you put the brakes on, you're taking yourself off your true path. I'm not saying brakes are a bad idea, particularly to my daughter Poppy, who goes down that whole freaking hill with both hands off the handlebars. Poppy, put your hands on the handlebars, for God's sake. We aren't blessed with good faces, don't smash yours up. But the moment you brake in life, you take yourself off your path, right? And the more that you can throw yourself to the path, the more you are free. And it's why I'm in this hugely fortunate position I am in now, because I can throw myself to the path, because there's nothing they can take from me, save for the ending of me, and that's perfectly fine. And I believe my family are somehow protected. I choose to believe that as well. And you could say, well, you daft old fool. But that's my choice. So they say, don't they, if you throw yourself off the cliff, your wings unfurl as you fly down. Now, don't throw yourself off a cliff, and clearly you don't actually have wings. So freaking don't go topping yourself on the edge of bloody Dover, because you're bloody... You know what will happen? If I tried to kill myself off the White Cliffs of Dover, I'd land in a freaking migrant ferry boat, wouldn't I? I'd land in an inflatable freaking boat, and I'd end up not dead, being by a bunch of migrants. That would be classic my life. And the Mirror would report, racist Hopkins lands on immigrant penis. That's how that would be reported. Please. So there's a whole chunk here we haven't done, which I think we'll save for another time, because it's massive in itself, which is epilepsy and me. We'll do that another time. It's massive, and it will set me off any day of the week, and I don't want to lose our flow, which is throwing yourself. So people ask me all these travel questions. We've discussed this, right? Like I'm some sort of travel expert, and I'm like, shit, I don't want to be a travel frickin' expert. Never wanted to work at Thomas Cook. I mean, love Thomas Cook. I remember going into Thomas Cook to explain that I'd booked a holiday for my family, and I'd booked every single one of us with the wrong surname. You should have seen their faces. But people say to me, how do you do this? You must be double jabbed. I'm never going to persuade you I'm not double jabbed. I'm not. But I'm not going to try and persuade you because you don't freaking believe me. So believe what the fuck you want. I'm not. What do you want me to do? Show you my arms? Those slices are the sewing back on of both my arms using my hip bones. More on that another time. So, yes, deciding where to travel for me now is just a mindset, right? I'm going to do this, and then I make it happen. And that's always been true in my life, right? I'm going to do this. And I would say to people, I'm going to end with some top tips for surviving life, right? Because I'm very excited for these. But what you have to kind of do sometimes, many times in my life, many times, my husband leaving me with a baby inside the hospital, walking out of The Apprentice, being the most hated woman in Britain, being kicked out of the army for being epileptic, being caught naked on the front pages, explaining that to my boss, a couple of jihadis coming to chop my head off, losing my jobs. So there's been many times, right, where life has been challenging because usually of something I've done. But sometimes what you have to do is you have to put on this thing, which I've done a lot of my life, right? You put on this brave you can do this. And you ask the rest of you to catch up. I'm going to do this. Come on. Like you are going to. And then you're like looking behind you, it scared you, and you're going, get pissing well. Fucking show up, would you? That's been a lot of my life. And I've just been writing about this, but like even being fired, right? If you're going to be fired, be fired, but you keep it together, right? You're going to keep it together. This is me walking out the radio shows. You're going to keep it together you are going to act like you're acting like a Vita, right? And you're going to be magnificent. You are going to walk out like you've got an aubergine up your arse, right? And you're going to ask the rest of you, catch up, and then get round the corner. Then you can shit yourself, eat chocolate bars, cry, ring home, piss yourself, whatever you want to do. But for a moment in time, you're going to be that brave person, right? That's how you do that. So that's how you get fired well. I am writing Help. Okay, this is not a book plug. I'm not friggin' Jumble One, but Alison Hammond. Love Eamon Holmes. Love you. I love you. I'm so sorry. I love you. Won't go into that. That's politics about ITV. So I am writing Help. Help will be coming soon. I promise. I'm nearly done. And it is basically all of my biggest disasters. All of this. It's basically Katie's arms in a book, and how you handle it, and what I would do, and how much I've cocked up, and how it's been all right. And I think it will be helpful. Rude was my first book, and the only thing I'd say about that is it's helpful in the sense it has a lot of this person that you see here in it. I put a link for the audiobooks, I think it's cheaper or free even, in this Instagram thing. Don't feel obliged to read it, but if you're epileptic, or you have a condition, or you have like a big struggle and you don't think you're going to make it, go to the audiobook. See, look, chapter 4 I think it is. Don't read anything else or listen to anything else, but I would say maybe read that, because I think it will help you see that. I'd be so pissed off, I'm telling you, if I'd ended my life at any point, I would not have got to do all this stuff, right? Right, and what else did I want to say before I go? We've got 3 minutes because we have to be on time. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Yes. When you don't know what to do next, I'm thinking specifically about care home staff, nursing staff being taken in to be given their meetings, right? Where you're being told you're going to be dismissed because you haven't had the state injectable. Oh shit, I haven't done the question about, okay, never mind, another time. Right, so you go in for that meeting. You go in there with your best underwear, your nicest shoes, you have a shower, you shave your legs, you go in there like the best version of you, right? Whatever that is, substitute all those things for things that matter. Boom. You sit there, you listen to them dismiss you because you didn't have the state injectable, okay? Yes, thank you. No, thank you. Yes, please. Don't give them any of yourself. Give them nothing of you. Give them no currency from your heart. You become all military discipline, right? And when you walk out of there, make them fire. You will not leave your caring position. You make them fire you. They will have to let you go because you care and you will not leave your patients. And you walk out of there and you put your head up and you put your shoulders back and you act like a Vita if you have to, all the way to your car and round the corner till you can't see any fat Tessa from HR with her shit blonde highlights and her shitty shoes and her horrible ankles. And then you lose your shit, right? You are going to hold the line. And that's part of the principle of this life, is sometimes we have to hold the line. You could say, yes, Katie, but what the shit happens tomorrow? Never the mind. Sometimes we just have to get through the next thing, right? Worry about the next thing next, but for right now, you're going to worry about the next thing. And if that is being Evita and being fired, with you being able to reflect on yourself thinking, yes, I rocked that. That's what you have to do. Yes. So that, it's not about pretending, it's about respecting who you actually are. And when people ask about, how do I deal with hate? It's always been that I know who I am. And sometimes, when they're coming for your head and your jobs and your home and they're reporting my children to social services, hoping they'll take my children, that still happens. And social services have to visit my children and check that I'm not sexually assaulting them, as is alleged often by the left, who also hashtag be kind whilst trying to get my children taken. Is that it's not about acting, it's about having respect for yourself and knowing who you are. And all the way through all of this, people come for all those things. I've known who I am. And it's always been okay because I've been able to say, and you must do this too, I'm not a bad person. I'm a good person. I just want the best for everybody. And that's the key. If you can say that, you're doing great. And everything else will fall into place. The other thing, just before I go, is One thing you must also do, just before you walk into that room to be dismissed, or walk to that thing to meet the guy who's going to tell you something horrible, or deal with family who don't want you to come to the funeral because you're not injected, or whatever it is, whatever in your private life, is do remember to breathe, right, all the way in and all the way out. I appreciate you don't need to be shown how to breathe, but you sort of do. And I haven't gone all kind of like, oh, vegan, holistic, oh, come with me to Indonesia and let's sit on a rock. I'm not doing that. I eat meat, a lot of it. But that was so inappropriate. I'm so sorry. Why am I such an asshole? Right, all I mean is when we get, under pressure, we don't even realise it, right? So I'm thinking of times in my life where it's been very, very harsh, like that award I got. We'll talk about that another time as well. You can start, you don't realise, but you only have a shallow breathing. It's a bit like when you cry, you do that thing, right? You completely lose your shit. That's actually what you're also doing before you cry. Okay, so you have to just stop and just say to yourself, okay, breathe in, all the way in, and all the way out, right? And you do that again, and maybe a couple more times, and then off you go. And it will change your whole dynamic. It will change the way you hold yourself, and it will change your ability to function, because you're going to supply yourself with some of the oxygen you need. Don't be the squashed shrew, right? That just got brought in by the pussycat, right? Be the big fat mole that, this is literally just coming out of my face, as you can see, that just came up from underground, but is now having a big, long, slow breath. Okay, big fat mole, not little shrew. Okay, that's it. I feel like we covered loads, right? How exhausting for you all. I will see you all next week when I will be, if all things go to plan, someplace new, and I will be able to tell you, and it will all become clear. And we can all clappity clap clap. And I've got a great tweet from someone on the left about what I won't be able to do with my life anymore. And this should be the perfect way of me saying, just watch me. So let's do this next week. I'll let you know if we're changing times or anything crazy. I will peg in my head that we didn't talk about lots of the questions I promised I'd answer. We will do epilepsy sometime as well, or anybody with a condition. And we will remember together that everybody has a choice and must have a choice, and if whatever you choose to do for the best for you or your family, as long as you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a good person and I'm trying my best for my family and I want everyone else to be the best they can be, it's all okay. Right, I'm 4 minutes over. I've stolen 4 minutes of your lives. I will see you all next week, and I'm always here if you need me, Katie@katiehopkins.co.uk.